$38,835. The increase in spending largely reflects the initial payments due for the capital project that we're undertaking, the $26 million one, and just general increases due to contractual obligations with our staff. The district will also be utilizing a 2.9% increase to the tax levy and reserves to offset what we were surprised to see as a nearly flat increase in New York State school aid.
So the next portion of the presentation, just to take a look and review the tax cap, New York State tax cap. We've talked to you before that it's not really a 2% tax cap. That's just part of the formula as they calculate the levy limit. Going from 2015 to present, you can see in the second column, the middle column, the tax levy threshold or the tax levy limit. The highest it had been would be this year at 4.42%, which would bring in $755,856. The lowest in 2016-2017 at 0.46%. So again, you can see that 2% tax cap they talk about really isn't. The last column shows you the actual levy increase, or the actual amount that taxes were raised during those years. As you can see, if you went through the 10-year calculation, taxes have been raised on average less than 1% across the district. If you take a look at 2024-25, we are proposing a 2.9% tax increase. Again, raising $508,000. Reason being, state foundation aid came in. They raised our aid $109,000. So there were districts that came out of the flat state aid, some that came out in the county a little bit better, but this was a low year. If they had fully funded us this year, we would have been right around $400,000 for state aid. How will that 2.9% tax levy increase really impact our taxpayers? What we took a look at, we have a formula that we plug all of our municipalities in. Their assessments, their equalization rates, again, not what they're actually assessed for, but actually what the true value is of their home. And we took those property values from 2023-24, and we put in the calculation. If we were to, across the board, increase the levy by $508,000, what you're going to see, again, this is on average. So we may have folks that say, hey, my taxes went up more than $58. I live in a $100,000 home. Again, those are based on the true values, which aren't the assessed value, but it's an equalized value. And people will see that true value on their tax statements. So again, these are averages across the municipality. Again, it could go up $58 on average for a $100,000 home, and as you can see through the chart, it could go up to $290 for a $500,000 home. That's the increase to the current taxes that people currently pay. The next chart tells us two different things in the district. If you take a look at the orange bars, dating back to 2007, the enrollment at that time was 2,226 students in Homer. Again, we didn't have pre-K at the time, but as you go to present, in 2023 with 1,859 students, that does not include our pre-K numbers. So you can see roughly over the last 5 to 6 years, from 2018 on, we've started to flatline or stabilize our enrollment, but there has been a drop from 2007 to 2024. The blue line is also very important. The blue line represents the students who are eligible for free and reduced lunch. That has changed and actually increased. So as you can see that our student population has decreased from 2007, that folks in need in our district, children in need in our district has increased. Actually almost doubled across that to 2023-2024. Currently we receive a community eligibility provision which provides for free breakfast and lunch for all of our students. Because our ratios are over 25%, our percentages are over 25%, we qualify for that across the board in the community. The piece of the puzzle right now is that that free and reduced number drives our foundation aid in the formula as well. So it's very important, and we'll be working over the next few months to make sure that because everyone does qualify for free and reduced lunch and breakfast, that people still have to fill out the paperwork to show that they have need, that they would fall in that category. That's very important as our state aid moves forward.
Mike, I have a quick question. Have they changed the eligibility qualifications for free and reduced lunch, or has it stayed? How does that compare from 2007 to 2023?
So they have changed it, and what they've gone to is that community eligibility. Originally, it was that you had to be at 50%. So that free and reduced number to qualify for everybody to get free breakfast and lunch. In the last few years, they've dropped that down to roughly 25%. But the provisions for children, they have actually, if your question is the household income, yes, that changes from year to year. So not only household income, but the number of children residing in there. If there are any other factors, that if somebody has a provision with a special education student or anything like that, that would fall into that. So with the socioeconomic piece, but also with other factors when they fill out the form. That number keeps rising. So that family income number keeps rising.
Do you think some of our eligibility for funding has changed because we now qualify, we have more kids that qualify for free and reduced lunch?
Okay. Can you ask me that again? I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I
So
understand the question.
our 25% that we
Yes.
now are eligible for, right? Do you think that that has had any impact on the amount of funding that we receive? Like,
The foundation.
So
Right.
it hasn't affected foundation aid yet
Okay.
because it's so new to us, but that's why we really need to get on the
Okay.
stick to make sure that people are filling out those forms.
Okay.
So really, that question, yes, that will change if we don't stay on that as a district. One of the other pieces, when you start to see this change, roughly around the reported numbers around 2013, as that number starts to escalate, that's when across, and many districts went to a POS system. So essentially, children could come through the line. It didn't matter whether or not you had free or reduced lunch. There was no stigma involved in it. It was just every child who went through the line was marked whether they bought a lunch or breakfast. So if they were part of the free and reduced lunch program, that was already in the system, and people felt, okay, there's no stigma to my family. And before that, we had people who were too proud to take advantage of that. Once we went to the service with the special, the checkout devices, those numbers really climbed. So we were able to really get people the service that they needed in that respect.
I think we all appreciated it during COVID too.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Do you need to jump
The next slide is one that should look familiar to you. We've had good response from sharing this in the past. This is how our district utilizes the funding that we receive. The largest number should be, and always has been, in Homer around 80%. This year, 79% of our funding is utilized for instruction. That includes our instructional staff, our administrative group, our supplies, our contractual items. The next largest is general support. Those are things like facilities and operations and maintenance, those types of items. You see pupil transport, 7%. We have just about 164 square miles that we cover every day, and we need to get kids not obviously just to school, but back home safely, not to mention the other runs that we do to take kids hither and yon for various activities and specialized programming that they might be in. Our school lunch, 2%, and then debt service is something that that fluctuates from time to time, but typically is right around that 2% mark. That's the amount of money that we need to use to pay for capital projects and transportation, bus leases, and those kinds of things. So that is, again, this has always been something that we wanted to share, because while we take it for granted in Homer that that percentage of instruction is so high, it's not always everywhere, and we're real proud of that. On May 21st, as we've been talking about, this will be the site of our voting for the budget. We'll have 3 propositions that we'll ask the community to vote on. The first is Proposition 1, and it's allowing us to spend the $49,538,835 and to levy the necessary tax to get there. So that's Proposition 1. Proposition 2 is our bus leasing program. We're going to ask our community to support the leasing of 766 passenger buses at a total not to exceed $1.1 million. So that's Proposition number 2. And as has been the case in Homer for certainly as long as I've been here, Proposition 3 has always been our Phillips Free Library funding. The district, being a good neighbor, has always collected those monies from the community and then pay them to the Phillips Free Library, to the trustees of that organization. And so whenever there's an increase, that's included in as our Proposition number 3. Questions on any of the propositions?
Can you remind me again how soon we need to start thinking about electric buses?
2027, we have to purchase zero emission buses. By 2035, our entire fleet has to be currently. And as we've talked about, that may change, but that's what the current dates are. We have good news in that we have more people running for board seats than we have openings. Our big concern has always been if you don't have that. And so in Homer, we've got a number of qualified people that are interested in running for the seats that will be vacated by Luke, Emily, and Casey Slade. The 5, and this is the order in which they will appear on the ballot. These were drawn at random with Kelly and Mike over our vacation. The 5 people running for the 3 seats are John Dean, Kevin Mack, Stacy Petrie, Casey Slade, and Emily Olsenick. Any of their bios can be found on the website at homercentral.org. For those of you that participated, I thought and watched, I thought all 5 people did a wonderful job. It's always nice to sit and listen to people that you know are there for the right reason. And again, that's something we take for granted here in Homer, but we shouldn't, because it's not always like that. And we're really fortunate. So we have 5 people running for those 3 seats. We've got a couple of changes to the voting process. The first, which will be the most obvious to everybody, is that we won't have the voting machines this year. Because of the presidential primaries and election cycle, we were notified by Portland County that we couldn't use their machines. So it'll be the old style paper ballots that people will use for those in-person voting on the 21st. A second change is that they've added something this year that's different than in years past. It's called the early mail ballot. It's not an absentee ballot, although they're very similar. Bottom line is, it gives people an opportunity to be able to vote without being here on that day. The early mail-in ballot, you don't have to give a reason why you're unable to. It's just something that they need to notify us well in advance so we can get them the ballot. I don't know that we've been overwhelmed with that, have we, Kelly?
0.
We've had 0 up to this point. But there's more information on our website for those folks that may be interested in the early mail ballot option. The vote, as I mentioned, is coming up quick. A week from tonight, the 21st. We'll start at 7 in the morning with bright smiling faces, and we'll end at 9 o'clock with slightly tired eyes but smiling faces. And again, what will be different on Tuesday is that we're going to be, Kelly's been working hard in getting people to count the ballots. We'll have teams of people doing that. It'll take us a little bit longer than in years past when we had the machine, but we hope that by being efficient, and Kelly has set up a nice process, that we should be able to move through it relatively quickly. So that's next Tuesday. Any additional information that you would like about the budget, if you want to go to our website, for any of the folks that are out there as well, there's a lot of information. So that is the presentation. What questions, if any, do you have? Okay, once again, this took a lot of work on a lot of people's parts. I'm always proud to stand up and present this because it takes a lot of wonderful input by caring people, and so I think we're in a good spot. Look forward to the vote on the 21st. Thank you.
So now I'll call us to order.
Yep.
And I'll entertain a motion to move to executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person or persons.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wait, hold on.
Take that back.
That'd be 3 hours. stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the minutes of the 4/17 and 4/25 meetings.
I can't approve.
I can't approve for the
Yeah.
5/24. I can, if you wanna split them, I'll help with that.
Oh wait, so let's try for approve. I need a motion to approve the 4/17/24 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, now I need a motion for the 4/25 special meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
So it didn't pass.
It did not pass. We'll have to do that
Motion to
again.
table and the approval of the minutes till the next meeting.
What's that?
You don't have to abstain.
Yeah, you don't have to abstain because you weren't here.
Well, the minutes look great.
Right.
Well, I'll
If you
unabstain.
trust that the minutes are accurate, you can vote yes.
Let's do this one more time.
Okay. Sorry.
Friends, we have to do better than this the rest of the meeting. I'm leaving, so. All right, motion to approve the 4/25 special meeting minutes.
So moved again.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
That's well done.
That's the toughest part of the meeting.
All right, it's all uphill
I
from here.
would say our
No.
learning curve is,
I just welcome everybody. I want to remind the board, last Friday I sent you an email regarding evaluation process that we're engaged in. Monday is the date to have stuff to Eddie and I so that we can keep us moving in an appropriate and efficient manner to complete that work. That's all.
Okay, I've got a couple of things that are very, very positive, I think. The first I wanted to share with you that we have a staff member, Savannah Webb, who, if you remember, was a high school English teacher, and she moved into the library and media specialist role at the high school. She went back to school to St. John Fisher in Rochester to get her certificate to be a library media specialist. And she was just honored recently at a ceremony. She received the 2024 Distinguished Library Media Award. And that's given to someone who has demonstrated high academic achievement throughout the program and distinguished themselves through significant contributions to the overall school librarian profession. So Savannah didn't tell us about this. I found out from another staff member. So I saw her and congratulated her, but just wanted to share that not only do we have folks that are going back to continue their education, but also doing a wonderful job at it and being recognized for it. So I wanted to share that. The second thing, of a positive note, I wanted to thank Amy and all that were responsible for pulling off our staff appreciation activities last week. It was really a nice way to spend, start each day with a different group of our staff members that go above and beyond for our kids every day. I know it was a lot of work on Amy's part to make it happen, but it was just awesome. And as I said to you in my weekly email, it didn't surprise me that last week was one of the more enjoyable weeks I've had in quite a while, because I got to see everybody and just talk for just a couple of minutes. And I wanted to thank Amy and again, I know that a number of you helped out as well throughout the week, so thank you for that. And
I think it should also be known the district paid for it.
yes,
Yes, there may have been some confusion as to my level of generosity.
I
yeah.
can attest.
And
You
then
paid for it.
Yeah.
Thank you very
paid for
much.
that.
Yeah, and the last thing I wanted to share with you was that we have been working on finalizing our start and dismissal times for next year, the changes that we've made. And I had mentioned throughout the capital project that one of the things we really had hoped to be able to do was through the changing of these times, the start and the end date, that we could increase instructional time with kids, and also start to clean up some of the traffic congestion, especially at the elementary school. And so we've got a plan that we're going to put into action for next year. And I'm gonna publish this to the community so they know, because there are about another 5 or 10 minute difference in some of the start times. And I want people to have as much notice as they can. But we will have, the goal is to have all of our elementary walkers released through Park Street and the back parking lot, and then have all of the buses come at one time. So instead of having that staggered dismissal time at the K-5 level, pre-K 5 level, it'll be one both at the intermediate and at the elementary school. And we're hopeful that we can pull that off in a meaningful way. It will just clean up a lot of the issues that I lose sleep about with people walking across Main Street and people not always listening to the crossing guard. So wanted to share that with you, and again, I'll be putting that out here in the next couple days so that people have it ahead of time. Okay, that's what I have.
So is that going to be reflected in the intermediate school as well? Because they usually kind of work together on that.
Well, yeah, the schedule is going to be such that while the walkers are being released from the elementary school, all of the buses will be at the intermediate school picking up the kids. And then as the walkers and their parents leave, all of the buses are gonna leave the intermediate school and come to the elementary school.
Okay.
So yeah, that's gonna be hand in hand.
Okay.
Let's move to new business and see if we can do better than with the minutes. Motion to approve the warrants and claims auditor's report.
So moved.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, for information, you have an investment summary and budget status and revenue reports for your enjoyment and reading. And we'll move to a motion to approve the reports from the Committee on Preschool Special Education.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Moore's ready.
I got a question, I got one for you. When it says at home,
Yeah.
how does that work? The child is in our district, but they're at home, or the therapy happens after hours? I'm just curious if you would explain that portion of it.
Yep, sure, so that's for preschool. So for preschool, they're not mandated to be within any sort of program, either daycare or center-based or with us, but services are still required. That's actually one of the challenges, I think, in obtaining providers. So for preschool, we provide services to our students who are in our program. Then for those who are not here, the county has a list of approved providers for different things, for evaluation, speech, occupational therapy, etc. And so we have to reach out to those agencies, some of which will go to center-based only, some of which have providers that will go into homes. But that is one of the challenges of, I think, some of these agencies trying to get it, is not everybody looks forward to going into a variety of homes throughout different counties. So yeah, they could be, it's typically during the day, sometimes it might be after hours, but that's generally if there's some provider who's willing to do something beyond what their regular contracts are for those agencies.
Further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the reports from the Committee on Special Education.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Motion to approve the disposal of items from the high school, junior high, and intermediate schools and buildings and grounds department.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to accept the donation of $100 from NBT Bank.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Move on to personnel. entertain a motion to approve personnel as presented by Superintendent Turk.
So moved.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Informational items.
Yes, we have one, fundraising updates from the high school. The French and Spanish Honor Societies will be conducting a fundraiser, as will the Environmental Club.
Moves us to community voices. We have somebody signed up, so we'll invite Mr. Pasquarello to come with a reminder that you get 2 minutes and
I'll need less. I'll need less. We don't have an opportunity to really get to speak to you all, but I just want to thank you. I want to thank Amy in particular. Tom already did this before. I want to thank Tom and Jessica. There was no question about it. It went over well with our group. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for providing this for me. So thank you for Staff Appreciation Day. It was a great day. And by the way, Jessica made some mean fruit salad. It went quick.
Tom does too.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
You need to cut my hand.
Oh, yeah, they did a good job. That's good. Everybody loves your eggs.
all right. Well, thank you for that. Board committee reports. I don't believe we have any, but we have some information.
You're gonna talk about the date
Yes.
Audit.
for audit, yeah.
Yeah, so audit committee, 1 month, please. We will be looking to meet as an audit committee, and I will post this out to the rest of the committee on the 22nd, if people are available on the committee, so May 22nd, at 4 o'clock, if that works, but I would put out another date. I can meet other dates next week as well.
Okay. Great.
And then district committee reports. So that brings us to board member activities.
Track, cross. Primarily.
To attend our National Honor Society induction ceremony. Enjoyed listening to our students journey through inducting their colleagues into it, and it's always an adventure to watch them navigate that.
I went to the guest speaker that we had. I thought that was a great event. And the top 10 breakfast that we had, I had to leave early, so I didn't get to hear a lot of it. But in case anybody's interested, it's 12 kids. 10% is 12 kids. I was wondering how many children that would be. And I think it's lovely when we honor kids and their families, and there's a lot of support that goes on in that. So that was cool. Next year I'll try to be there full time. And I got to swing by a couple of the 5th grade play, which was great. If anyone got to see it, there was one scene with a bubble boy that I think melted everybody's heart, and that was really a proud moment for our district for inclusion, which was really cool. And the outsiders, which I admire anybody who will get on the stage. You know, there's real jobs in that field, and it's a solid thing to try. And by the time you get to high school, it's more gutsy than any other time. So that was really cool to be able to support all of those kids.
Sure that superintendent will remind us, but remind us as a board, next Tuesday evening at 9 o'clock, we need to gather as a board to receive the election results. So we'll action to our calendar. Any other upcoming?
Yes, we've got a couple of concerts this week. We've got the intermediate junior high grades 5 and 6 advanced band and the junior high band concert tomorrow night, and then Thursday night is the high school instrumental concert. And you beat me to the punch. We've got our school budget vote next Tuesday night here, and we'll need to accept the results of that as a board. So we'll be meet right in here. That's what I have.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh,
What happened?
so a bunch of groups that
I know, I was reading.
I have to, my